We are so excited to have you. Welcome. And, what we want to start with is by just telling you that tonight we are talking about anti-aging. And we're going to focus a lot on anti-aging on the inside. But not too long ago, a group of us did a similar Zoom on our skincare products. And you may have heard, you may not have heard, but Shaklee has just launched an amazing new skincare line that is taking years off people's skin. So I just wanted to mention that if you want to see the recording, we can absolutely send that to you. And it is a quite remarkable skincare line that's going to help you look as young as we're going to help you feel tonight. So if you want to check that out, you can do that. And I'm going to go ahead, and share my screen. So give me one little second here. All right. And everyone can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Fantastic. So you see these gorgeous women in this picture? All of these women are over 70. Isn't that amazing? And look at them. They are full of life. They are full of love. They live vibrant, healthy lives. These are all distributed master coordinators with Shaklee. In their 70s. They are healthy on the inside. They're living fulfilling, healthy lives all around them. And they look healthy. Can you believe it? How gorgeous they look. So I wanted to show you that because that is all of our goals, right? Don't we all wish that when we're in our 70s, this is how we look. And I just wanted to share this quote with you from Elizabeth Blackburn and Elissa Epel. They both wrote a book called The Telomere Effect, and Elizabeth Blackburn is a Nobel Prize winner. She says in the foreword to that book that there are two studies, a landmark study on long-term nutritional supplement users and the telomere study. They have shown that the Shaklee population is remarkably healthier than the general population. And I just love that she has recognized that in us.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
Jean, I love this. I want to be this. I love this. I love this photo.
I know, right? Mm-hmm. So we are going to go to Jean now.
Yes. Hi, I'm Jean Zabinden, and I have a question for all of you. If you could kind of go down to that little chat bubble on the bottom of your page. And my question is, what are you most concerned about with aging? What is your greatest concern? So, as for an example, as I talk to people out there, if you are someone who is very athletic, a lot of people I talk to now are going through shoulder replacements and knee replacements. So maybe bones are your greatest concern. Maybe it is your skin or your energy, or maybe as you think about a retirement and maybe you're coming up to that, maybe it's your financial health that has you most concerned. So if you could kind of put down in that cognitive health, that's a great one. Bones and energy, cognitive, remembering names. That's so true. That is so true. So yeah, energy. The energy is a big one. I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about one of my concerns or what anti-aging. And what that is for me is cellular health. So, and why is that so important to me? I have an older sister who's a 10-year ovarian cancer survivor. I also have a younger sister who just about last fall was diagnosed with cancer, and she passed away this last April at the age of 52. So very young. So, and this is something that she wanted also me to do, is to reach out to more people and talk more about cellular health, aging, and just health in general. So it's one something I'm passionate about is cellular health. So, and why are cells so important? Well, there are building blocks. And if you have poorly functioning cells, that's when you have early aging. That's when cancer can come on, heart disease, and many other diseases can happen. And everything happens on the cellular level. So when things are going wrong, it's going wrong on the cellular level. But this is what's so cool, and this is what is so exciting to me. We can influence our cellular health. And that just kind of blows me away. We are born with our DNA, but we can influence our cellular health through diet, exercise, and our response to stress. That is so cool. And one of the main ways that we can influence our cellular health is what Angie talked about, and that is telomeres. And Angie, if you don't mind pulling up that slide,
Yeah.
the telomeres was researched by Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, and Angie kind of touched on that. She is a Nobel Peace Prize winner for her study of telomeres. She is the president of the American Association for Cancer Research. So this is where everything starts. And the telomere, if you can see that little picture of the chromosome, the telomere, if you think of a shoelace, so the shoelaces have those little plastic caps on the top. And that's to prevent that shoelace from unraveling. And that's what the telomere are, these little end caps you see on the chromosomes that protects the DNA. So it kind of protects your DNA from unraveling. So every time your cells replicate, which happens all the time, every day, those telomeres protect that DNA from being discarded, from mutating, or even from your cells dying. So hugely important. And you can kind of see, you got the telomere with the caps that are all nice and healthy. And then you see the telomere or the chromosome with the telomeres are all short. And that's where you're going to see shortened telomeres basically equals cellular aging. So I love Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, and I think I'm not sure if this is the same quote that we talked about, but the preliminary clinical studies show that an 80-year-old Shaklee supplement user would have the same telomere length as a 41-year-old non-supplement user. I mean, this is huge to me. This is crazy big. And this comes from the telomere study that Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn did in conjunction with Shaklee, which is so exciting. Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn worked with Shaklee on a product that I'm going to talk about specifically on the topic of telomeres and cellular aging. So really, really, really exciting. So to me, when you think about the fact that you can do something to help your cellular health, again, that just kind of blows my mind about that. So what can you do? The things that you can do, again, affect you the most are lifestyle, stress, and your diet. So your lifestyle, maybe getting rid of some of those things in your lifestyle that you know are not healthy for your cells. Adding exercise in. Our cells need oxygen. That's very important to have that exercise. For stress, how you respond to stress. Stress is huge for shortening our telomeres. So this one is really, really important. So maybe putting in place some of those things that will help you with stress, whether it's meditation or yoga or walking, whatever that is that's going to help you with stress. That's a huge one. And then our diet. We're probably pretty much aware that our American diet is not telomere friendly. We're high in fats, we're high in junk carbs, we're high in sugar, so not very friendly to lengthening our telomeres. So what you can do with your American diet, you can maybe, get rid of some of those high fats, bad fats, add in some good fats, get rid of the junk carbs, the junk sugar, add in all those veggies and those fresh fruit. And add in, if you're a beef eater, which we are, pasture raised is what we do. So those things that you can do that will benefit your telomeres, not hurt your telomeres. And one of the other things that you can do is supplement. And this is huge because I don't know about you, but I have a hard time throughout the day getting in everything that I need. So, I mean, I have 3 meals a day and snacks. I know I wouldn't get in all the vegetables, all the fruit, all the protein that I need without supplementing. So the supplements to fill in those gaps. So I'm going to show you what I use for that. What I like to do is what we call the life plan. And that is this right here. You guys can see that. Comes in this box. This is the life strip. And it's this right here. You guys can see that. So this has all the vitamins and minerals we need, our omegas. And remember, our cells are made up and need vitamins, minerals, and protein. So this will fill in the gaps for me for the vitamins, minerals, and the omegas. And then this is that product that I spoke about that Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn Shaklee worked with her. This is Vivix. This Vivix is a resveratrol. And the resveratrol is a patented blend of polyphenols that's designed to protect our DNA. So it protects those telomere caps on the ends of our chromosomes protects our DNA. So when our cells replicate, we have those long telomeres, and we have wonderful cells that replicate. I love this. So I have this in the strip. It also comes in these gel caps that my husband take, but I take the 2, and I figured 2 is great. So I also take these. I figure 4 is awesome. So I dig into my husband's, and I do this. So for cellular health. And then on top of that, protein. Our cells need protein. And it's hard for most people to get in a good protein on a daily basis and what you need. So part of the life plan is our protein, is the Shaklee Life Shake. And I love this because, I trust Shaklee. Everything, so many studies, so many clinical studies, so much testing that I know if Shaklee makes it, that I can take it. And we use this every morning, my husband and I. So it's 24 grams of protein and 9 essential amino acids. So that's our foundation. And with that foundation, I know we are giving our cells a foundation that we need for cellular health, for happy little telomeres with smiling faces, little short telomeres. So with that, I just want to introduce Susan Knott, who's going to talk about what's important to her regarding aging.
Great. Thanks, Jean. Hi, everyone. So like Jean, for my foundation, I do the actual kind of vitalizing plan. I do the vitalizer strips right here like this. And I also do the Vivix, and I love, the Vivix comes in the liquid or the gels. And so for the gel caps, it's great for travel. So are the strips. I also do the protein. I just got back from traveling, so all these I had with me. And the packets are great for traveling as well. So anyhow, I do the same foundation. But in my family, heart health and some heart issues have been kind of a concern. So I build on that foundation with a couple of the Shaklee's heart health products. And the 2 that I want to really talk to you about today is the Omega Guard, Shaklee Omega Guard. And Shaklee's Omega Guard is here's the little gel cap right there, real simple to just swallow down. It's an omega-3 fatty acid, and it's an ultra-pure pharmaceutical grade. And what omega-3s do is they help to reduce inflammation, so such as any type of heart disease, that's inflammation. So it reduces inflammation in the heart. It lowers triglycerides. Omega-3s also help to reduce cholesterol by raising HDL and lowering LDL, and helps to even lower blood pressure. It helps to reduce heart disease and stroke. And like Barb Lagoni always tells us, is it helps to make those red blood cells kind of slippery so they don't stick together and clot up and stuff. And I love that description because it's easy to understand. But, omega-3s do a multitude of other things. It's not just this, but since we're talking about heart, I want to stress those. But it does things it helps with depression, eczema, arthritis, colitis, things like that. And you can look that up or ask someone else, and we'll be happy to share those with you. But before I move on, I do want to let you know the difference, because there are so many omega-3 products out on the market. And the Shaklee difference is the fish oil in Omega Guard is put through a state-of-the-art molecular distillation process that helps to remove lead, mercury, arsenic, PCBs, and a load of other contaminants. And that ensures the purity and potency of the product. It also helps to minimize fishy odor and aftertaste. So that's kind of a nice perk too, because who likes that in their mouth? So anyhow, the other product I want to quickly tell you about is CoQ Heart. And that's right here. It's this little gel cap thing, another real simple one to slide down and swallow. And CoQ Heart is our CoQ10 product. And CoQ10 is in every cell of our body. Shaklee's CoQ Heart delivers a powerful 100 milligrams of CoQ10. And what CoQ10 does, it's vital for energy production in the heart, and it promotes and protects healthy arteries. Anyone who's currently on, or anyone who's on a statin drug to help them lower their cholesterol, will want to be on our CoQ Heart product, because one of the most common side effects of statin drugs is that it lowers the levels of coenzyme Q10. And as the levels drop, the side effects of statins increase. So it's really important if you're on that to get on this. I also want to share with you something that I just heard a couple of months ago. One of my Shaklee members, who I just love dearly, whenever I talk to her, I learn a lot from her. And she's a nurse by trade, but she doesn't practice it anymore. She considers herself a nurse researcher in her later years. And I love that about her. But she always gives me a little tidbit of something. And she told me that once you turn 50, anyone over 50 should be on a CoQ10 product because I didn't know that. And she told me that because after you turn 50, our CoQ10 enzymes start to deplete rapidly. So with that said, guess what? I've made sure I put on my daily regimen. So anyhow, that's just a little tidbit. And the difference with our product, because again, there's lots of CoQ10 products out there, is CoQ Heart delivers an all-natural proprietary blend of the Q10 plus resveratrol. And those are two ingredients that provide potent support for heart health. So I just wanted to make sure you knew about that. And so those are the two products that I add to my daily regimen. Angie, if you can flip up my slide, I'll tell you about two other ones real quick. So Shaklee has a couple of, targeted heart health products. And as you can see here in that first pack right there, you'll see in the middle the blood pressure. So Shaklee has something called Shaklee blood pressure, and that helps to maintain a healthy blood pressure. And then on the right, in that little trio there, you'll see in the middle is cholesterol reduction complex, and that helps to reduce cholesterol naturally with plant sterols and stanins. So tonight we don't have a bunch of time to go into those products, but if you are interested in them, make sure to reach out to the person who invited you, and they will be happy to share that information with you and answer any questions.
Hey, Susan?
Yes.
If I could just step in 1 second. I just want to mention I have a number of members who have actually gotten off their cholesterol meds, which you mentioned how damaging they can be with the cholesterol reduction complex.
That's fantastic. Very yes, that's great to hear that.
Younger people are being diagnosed with high cholesterol. These are actually gals that are in their 30s.
Is that right?
So they would have been on cholesterol meds for a long time.
Wow. And there are so many, besides the depletion of CoQ10, the statin drugs, there's a lot of other side effects with it, like muscle weakness and memory loss. So wow, that's fantastic. Thanks for sharing. With that, though, I think we'll go ahead and go on to Richard, who I'd like to introduce live from Wisconsin. Hi, Richard.
Hi, everybody. I've been told that I'm the odd person in this group, but I'm okay with that. I wanted to make sure that for those of you who are listening, you've heard a couple of people already talk about the quality of Shaklee products, and it's quality because of the science and the philosophy of the company, which is the reason that Kay and I have been involved with Shaklee since 1990. And I just want, just as a quick support, this is what I take, Jean.
Good. Hey, awesome.
So I take this along with the Life Shake in the morning. That has been our regimen for a number of years, and I have been able to maintain a great weight level for me, and I really appreciate that. It's easy to take all the fundamental nutrients that I need every day to ensure that my cells get the best things that they can. But then there's more. But wait, more. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about something that's important to our family, and that is cognitive health. I have a history in our family of people who have had dementia, and I have a sister who's a physician. I have a wife, for those of you who know Kay, she's a nurse, and so there's been a lot of discussion about what all that means when you have a father who has had dementia, and what are the symptoms that go along with that. Of course, there's the medical approach to dealing with dementia, which is one thing, but one of the great, wonderful opportunities that we've had while we've been in Shaklee is to be able to be the beneficiary of some really great research on cognitive health and how do we maintain an effective normal brain function as we get old. And unfortunately, I'm getting older. Live younger, longer is our byline, but at some point, you have to acknowledge that everyone treats you differently than the 20-year-old that I still think that I am.
Mhm.
So I want to talk with you about a couple of things that have to do with cognitive health. And the first one is one that's a very common nutrient, and I have a story about it, and that's B complex. I'll hold it up here. I apologize for the washout for the light, but B complex is one of those things that can affect your brain function very, very quickly. They call it the happy vitamin, or they used to call it the happy vitamin. And it's because it has some very interesting characteristics. What it does is that it gets you to calm down if you're excited. It also has the ability to energize you if you're a little on the lethargic side. But it's really good to have it in case you're feeling like maybe you had too much coffee today, or you're in a lifestyle that makes you think you had too much coffee today. Taking 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the evening does a great deal to help reduce stress and improve your brain function when you're when you're under stress. The story I have is a personal one. Our oldest daughter, Mary, was going to first or second grade. I think it was second. Whenever they get these sheets of math problems, they come home and there's like 8 rows of 5, right? And she would come home with these homework assignments that were graded, and her scores weren't very good. And when you look at the red marks and the white marks, you'd see, the red marks, you'd see that she would get the first 2 rows correct and the last row and a half correct. But in the middle, it was a 50-50 chance. So I happen to be a psychologist, so I always think that there's some kind of issue going on there. So it was clear to me that was a certifiable out-of-body experience she was having. But Barbara said, well, there might be another way to look at this. Why don't you try giving Mary a couple of B complex vitamins about a half an hour before she does her homework, and just see what happens. And we did that, and the results were really amazing. So if you have any children who have trouble concentrating on homework, B complex is a really good way to start and see if it works. What's really unique about B complex that Shaklee makes is the science behind the product is killer. It's one of the things that happened was when they were researching the absorption of different B vitamins, they noticed that there was difficulty with one of the B vitamins. I'm trying to remember which one it was that they put on that. But what they realize is if we manufacture it differently and we put this particular B vitamin on the coating, the what?
Folic acid.
Folic acid, of course. I'll be talking about the other brain product very shortly. So what's really impressive about the Shaklee Corporations, they said, well, rather than just mixing it all up in a big pot, making pills out of it, and then giving it to people, why don't we put the folic acid on the outside where it's absorbed fastest in the saliva and in the stomach? And that's the technology that you want to have in a company that's providing you with nutrients.
Right.
This is why we are so excited about the science, and every year what they come through with a breakthrough. So B complex is a very easy way to find out how children or parents who are maybe a little lost in their thinking, give them some B complex and see what happens. It's safe, it's good for the body, and it's very inexpensive. So I really recommend that. The next one is one that's very important to us, and that's a product called MindWorks. And I've got a slide. If you can put it up for me, I'll do this. I want to tell you a little story about how MindWorks happened. As you heard Jean talk about, polyphenols are now in the center of research in nutrition. And Dr. Daggy, who's a chief research scientist at our corporation, was talking with a colleague of his, and he was mentioning that they were making great strides in polyphenols, and that they'd heard that there was a polyphenol that could be very valuable for the human mind in a Chardonnay grape. Well, he was talking to one of his colleagues, a college researcher, And he said, well, step into my laboratory. Let's go talk to some of my folks. And so they went in and talked to a gentleman who was a researcher. I'm trying to remember what his name was, but then again, I haven't taken my MindWorks today. Ted, right. I kept thinking, oh, it's a TED Talk is what this is. So Ted was in the lab, and they said, can you find out whether the Chardonnay grape, this particular Chardonnay grape strain, has the polyphenol that we're looking for? And so the research was done, and Ted came back and said, why, yes, we do. We found it. And so the next question that came from Shaklee was, is there a way for you to extract it using only water, no solvents or anything like that? So after a bit of time trying to figure out how to do that, they were able to extract this very effective polyphenol that's in MindWorks, and it really helps because it helps in sharpness, it helps in focus. There are some great clinical studies about this. It's 3 times better for memory and focus on than the control group that was used in a clinical study. Actually 3.6 times better. One of the other things that it does is it reduces brain shrinkage. Your brain starts to shrink at the age of 20. And I'm still thinking I'm 20, but my brain apparently isn't. So one of the things I'm doing in order to deal with the issue of cognitive awareness and cognitive health is that I want to make sure all of the cells in my brain and in my circulatory system have enough of the right nutrients. And this one is great because it helps to reduce brain shrinkage based upon the control group. And it helps immediately to help with mind alertness. And I have another daughter who's now going into a master's program in bacteriology. She started taking the MindWorks, and she said, it's amazing how much more alert I was the first day that I took it, because it helps brain circulation. Mm-hmm. It's really a fabulous product. And what I say 3 times better. I just want to make sure I got my note here. It helps because it puts neural connections together. As the brain shrinks, the connections between neurons begins to degrade, and this helps to create new ones. There's a lot I don't understand about how the brain works, but what I do know is that the research here and the effect that it's had on my family has really been beneficial, because the alternative that we hear about for cognitive health is take 1 aspirin a day. You need to take some statins or things like that. And those things all have side effects that are negative for the body.
Right.
So before I'm required to take those kinds of medications, I want to make sure I've used every alternative that's a natural one. So that's what I'm taking for mental health, cognitive health. And our next, and that's where I am.
That's awesome.
Our next speaker is
Angie, me.
Ta-da!
Yay!
Richard, thank you so much. Richard is new to our lineup, and what I was going to say is I've learned so much just because different people hear different stories and they get different perspectives from their experiences, like your daughters and stuff. And so I love hearing from you, Richard, and I thank you for sharing. So what I'd like to share about tonight is bone health. And so I always kind of thought I didn't really need to worry about bone health because people say I'm big boned and tall, so I don't really need to worry. But there is some osteoporosis in my family, so that did get me worried. And then also my best friend has started a bone health quest to help people with their bone health. And what I've learned from her is that bone health really is very important, and it is something that starts as soon as possible. And in fact, she really has a mission to get parents thinking about their children with bone health. And the reason she feels that way is because our bones, they grow the most during puberty. And then after 20, along with our brains, they stop growing, and they actually, that's when we start having our bone loss starts at 20. Our brains and our bones all just go kaput. And so it is important to care about our bones as soon as possible. And so through my friend and through Shaklee, what I've been trying to learn and include in my regimen, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now, is that the foundation I use, since everyone's going over their foundations, is I actually I've bounced back and forth through things, but what I've landed on right now is I'm kind of a la carting it. I use our Vitalee for our multivitamin, and I add in B complex and probiotic and omegas sort of on as individual products. And I also include calcium, magnesium. Right now I'm using the chewables because I have children that use them too, so it's just easier to have them all here. And for some people that works really well. And then we also have a tablet form of them. And then I also make sure I'm getting adequate protein. And I've always made sure that I'm using the Life Shake like Susan and Jean and Richard talked about. But I wasn't necessarily thinking that it was for bones that I was using it for, but what I've learned, and I love this image in my head. If we think about our bones like a brick house, the protein are the bricks. And all of the vitamins and minerals, the calcium, the magnesium, the zinc, the copper, it's not just about calcium, guys. All of that's kind of like the mortar. So we can't have just a building of bricks without mortar. It would fall down, and we can't just have a bunch of mortar, right? So we need the two together to add the structure, and then kind of the glue that holds everything together is our vitamins and minerals. And protein, just concentrating on having a protein-filled breakfast is great, but we really need it throughout the day. So I try to make sure that I focus on, I'm a vegetarian, so I also have to be concerned about where my protein sources are. But the Life Shake helps me get that in twice a day at least, because I can have my shake at lunch and my shake at breakfast, and I know that I'm getting some really great protein from that. But diet is really important, as well as weight-bearing exercises and osteogenic loading. My best friend's business is called OsteoStrong. If you have one of those in your neck of the woods, then you might want to look it up and check it out. But the multivitamin and the protein is a great foundation for bone health. If you already have osteoporosis or osteopenia, or it's in your family and you're concerned, adding 2 to 4 of the OsteoMatrix a day. And those should be spaced out also. So, if you take your multivitamin in the morning, take your OsteoMatrix before bed, if you can, and that would give you a great foundation for strong bone health. And, we've talked about a lot of different areas tonight, and you may have come to this call with concerns with your heart health or your bone health, and we kind of want to give you an idea of where to get started. And you can choose to either go with, we believe a foundational plan is extremely important. So to do that, you want to either look at the Vitalee, like I'm taking on its own, or the Vitalizer, or the Life Strip, what Richard and Jean are taking. You want to pair one of those 3 ideas with protein daily. So that would be your daily foundational. And then at the bottom, you see just a little bit of some products we talked about tonight. And you want to start looking at, how do we customize this? And if you're worried about heart, maybe adding in the heart health plan, or bones, we might need some extra OsteoMatrix there. And then I also wanted to make sure that you saw our amazingly gorgeous skincare products, because as we're going to work on our inside, we want to make sure our outsides are reflecting how we're feeling on the inside. So that is definitely a great thing to include as well, because really, it's not just about the looks. Our cellular health on our skin is very important.
Right.
So it isn't just about the beautiful looking skin you're going to have with these products. And we also encourage you to talk to the person that invited you to this call, because one of the assets that you have when you have a Shaklee distributor is that we can help customize a wonderful plan that's going to work for you and for your budget and your needs and your goals. Right. So Jean, we have one other product that I would love for Jean to talk about tonight.
Yes, thank you. I want to talk a little bit about our financial health. I know as you come into your 40s and your 50s and even younger, we're all concerned about our financial health. But as you get older, you're also starting to add that retirement factor in there too. And basically, I just want to show this slide briefly just to show that there is a real income here. We're going to talk about another product here, which is our business, the business product. And there's a real income here. So this is a real retirement option or also just real money for people. And one thing, the reality is when we're thinking about retirement and we're thinking about aging healthy, is the average Social Security is $700 to $1,200 a month. That's average Social Security. So if you can supplement that in some way, I mean, it just makes a huge difference in your future health, your future financial health, but also your health. Because if you're struggling financially, there's stress. There's a lot of things that play into that. So this makes a huge difference with that. And you may have a 401k, you may have some real estate, you may have a pension. But I know, I think it was 5 years ago, I mean, we saw a huge hit in our 401k. And just recently, we saw a huge hit in real estate. So, and you just hope that it recovers. And if that's going to happen, it's not happening when you're retiring and drawing in on it. Mm-hmm. So this gives something that honestly, my husband and I actually feel is more stable even than real estate and 401ks and such are, and even pensions these days. So this gives that stable, and my husband's even worked it into, he has a spreadsheet, so he's worked it into the retirement plan. He's worked the Shaklee income into the retirement plan. I looked at this as a business about 6 to 7 years ago. So I was 49, 50. I'm 56 now, and I worked. And I had many people at that time say, why are you doing this? I mean, you're working. Why the heck do you even want to add this into your day? And my feeling kind of was, why not? What do I have to lose? Why not do this? And, what's the worst that's going to happen? My husband enjoys good health. I enjoy good health. My kids enjoy good health. I mean, really, that was the worst thing that I could see that was going to happen. But what's the best thing that could happen is what I'm seeing now. So this is now I do this. This is my business. I work out of the home. I don't work out of the home anymore. And what I see is a flexibility that I did not have before I was doing this. I can see my kids who are off now doing their own thing. I can travel with my husband. I took my mom away for 4 days for her 89th birthday just recently. When my sister was ill for 6 months with cancer, I was in Ohio as much as I could. And that's time that I can't get back now. And that's something that would have been very, very difficult for me to do if I did not have this flexibility. And then also the residual income, that extra income, something to supplement, whether you're looking at it as a full retirement, which you've seen in some of those in that photo could be, or you're just looking to supplement something that you can count on as you get older. So that residual income that this provides. And then the ultimate gift, I think, is something that I didn't expect. And that is making a difference in other people's lives. Mm-hmm. And that's something that came along that I didn't expect, helping other people with their health, helping other people with their financial health. So having that purpose is very cool. And again, that was something that I didn't expect. So maybe you're looking for that, you're looking for that purpose. And do I wish I'd learned about Shaklee earlier before I turned 50 years old? I do. I wish I'd seen Shaklee when I was in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s. I wish I'd known about it. But that's okay. I mean, it's really never too late. If you look at what our lifespan is till 80, 85, 90, 95. I mean, we have a long possible lifespan, and there's plenty of time, and we want to have a big health span. We have a lifespan, and there's a health span and a disease span. You want a big health span and a very small disease span. And Shaklee offers that on two fronts, the financial and on the products and the health. So I really encourage all of you, if you want to explore that, if you want to explore those incomes, if you want to explore those possibilities at all, even remotely, go back to the person who invited you and talk more about that. Talk more about what that can mean to you.
Yeah, Jean, I feel like that what you said at the very end there is really what this is all about, because people are living longer. And when I think about living longer, the only reason I don't want to live longer is if I can't afford to live longer, or I don't feel good and I'm sick the whole time and I'm a burden on someone, or I don't have the money to take care of myself and I can't enjoy life.
Right.
So I feel like those are the realities that people are very concerned with, and we can have some answers for that.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
Go ahead and tell us about the next opportunity to learn.
Yes, we have coming up next is the next online class. It is going to be Thursday, September 21st. If you're Central Time, 7:30. If you are Eastern Time, 8:30. And this is going to be seasonal allergies. This is huge. I normally don't even really suffer from allergies, and I'm sniffling. I've got some things going on. So it seems like they're pretty bad. I know a lot of people are already really, really struggling. So going to be a great class about seasonal allergies, and that's coming up next.
Thank you. Hey, Susan, I saw some pretty interesting things come over on the chat. You want to talk about that?
Yes, I was going to say, if everyone wants to go over and look at the chat, if you haven't been able to keep up, a lot of people have been talking about Vivix for the heart. As Jean mentioned, she takes 4 a day. I didn't know that. I might have to start considering that.
I would take 6 if I could. I would.
Yeah, you could afford it. And then Chris Spell said he takes 4 as well, and it really helps his heart. He said he has a heart rhythm issues, and Vivix totally controls his heart rhythm. And he'd say it's 99% normal. That's just amazing.
That's
so
huge.
Just being able to share these stories is just something that we can pass on. We can just pass on these stories that have helped other people. Also, MindWorks. A lot of people are saying, yes, MindWorks is a deal breaker. Sarah says she's not as forgetful, and that honestly, it scares me too. That it scares her getting older is with dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff. And MindWorks has been life-changing for Beth. She said she was having hormonal migraine, started about 6 months ago. And I'm trying to find where she stated that. Yeah. And not awful, but enough to put her to bed by 7 p.m. Well, I'd say that's pretty awful, Beth, when you have 3 little boys you're chasing after. Yeah. And not being able to think well. So she said 1 month on MindWorks and no migraines. So, wow. Tammy Johnson says she's able to accomplish a lot more in the day, also remembers names and trying to, Go ahead, Jean.
Briefly, high stress makes people very forgetful. It can mimic things like dementia. So if people are in very high stress situations, and that can be an 18-year-old getting ready to go off to college, that can be in high school or getting ready to take SATs, ACTs, college age kids. MindWorks is great for that. Those high stress situations.
That's good to know.
It makes people very, very forgetful.
Good point. That is a good point. I wonder why that's what happens to me when I am high stressed, forgetting things, dropping things. I do all sorts of things when I'm stressed. Casey had a good question. She said, is MindWorks safe while nursing? And Barb answered her and said, we want to be conservative with herbs during pregnancy or lactation. So B complex and omegas are great for the baby and for you in your brain. So hopefully if Casey's still on, she read that or heard that just now. And then, Richard, his bone health products. His mother avoided she used Shaklee bone health products and avoided osteoporosis until her late 90s.
Wow.
Oh, that's so encouraging to hear. Love that.
Yeah. Bad bones, and a spill are really, that's a fear. Me. That's a very big fear for people, and it should be. So bone health is kind of the thing that I didn't think it was something that we should all be concerned about, but the more I learn, we absolutely do. So
agree.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else? Did anyone have any other questions they want to type in or raise their hand? we are always available, and so are the people that invited you to this. And thank you so much. We went a little long, but we had so many great things to share with you. So we're glad you hung in there, and we're so glad for you being on this tonight. And thank you very much. And thanks, Jean and Susan and Richard and everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Great session. Excellent. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I want to mention also there is another Zoom event this coming Thursday on the new sports nutrition product.
Oh, right.
Sarah Bolger is joining us, and we have a graphic on it. I'm not sure that got to you, but same time, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, same link. That's going to be really good. These are
excellent.
Brought to you by, serious athletes. Sarah's a multi-marathoner. I don't know if that's what you call them.
It sounds right.
Not me is what you call that.
And a personal
Perfect.
trainer, Trisha and Rebecca, who was a competitive volleyball. Yeah, volleyball in college. And so these are 3 women who really have been very active in sports and athletics, and they're going to talk about the nutritional support for the fitness athlete and the endurance athlete. It should be very good. So thank you. That was great tonight. Thanks for all the information.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Everyone.